Our Twitter space will begin now. And welcome to the intersection of AI and cross-chain, unleashing the next wave of Web3 event hosted by NotLab and co-organized by Axelar. In this era of innovation and change, the integration of AI and cross-chain technology is leading a new chapter in Web3. We come together to discuss the infinite possibilities of this frontier and to usher a new era of future technology. Today, we are fortunate to have many well known KOLs and opinion leaders in this AI industry. Let's welcome them to introduce themselves. Firstly, I saw Galen has on the mic. Uh, let's welcome Galen to introduce yourself to us first.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having
Hello.
me here. Thanks especially to NodeLab for hosting. My name's Galen. I lead comms at Interop Labs. Interop Labs is the initial developer of Axelar Network. Axelar Network is a blockchain interoperability network. We provide secure cross-chain communication across now 70 blockchains with the addition of Flow just yesterday. And we provide a suite of developer tools on top of that cross-chain communication primitive that enables builders to create seamless applications that pull resources, liquidity, and reach users across multiple blockchains, including asset tokenization across multiple chains and other functions that make a Web3 application feel like a Web2 application in terms of how easy it is to use and the extent to which it can scale rapidly and reach users across the globe, regardless of what blockchain they're on.
Welcome. Nice to meet you. And we will welcome our next guest, Herbert Yang from ICP. Please introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Huayi, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Good morning and good evening. And this is Herbert from Definitive Foundation. We are the developer behind ICP, Internet Computer Protocol. I'm the Asia General Manager for Definitive Foundation, building the Asia ecosystem. So, while ICP, we are one of the layer one blockchains. The mainnet was launched in May 2021. It's getting to our 4-year anniversary in a couple of months. And I think similar to what I think Galen just mentioned about Axelar network with ICP, you can build web applications in our smart contract. We call that canister. So that's something very unique and also has unlocked a lot of scenarios. For today's topic, when we talk about the synergy between AI and cross-chain. So looking forward to talking to sharing more from ICP in the coming minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Herbert, for your introduction and welcome. And let's welcome our next guest, Dalia. Hello.
Hey, hello. Hey, good evening, good morning to all who's everywhere in the world. My name is Daria from Autonomous Network. I'm head of protocol, so like a consensus implementation and all of the exciting stuff. We launched mainnet recently, like 3 months ago, and we're growing. Autonomous is a foundation layer for AI 3.0, which is what we call decentralized AI, basically like Web3, everybody here is familiar. So AI is not controlled by centralized entities, and that's user owned. And we are looking to provide like end-to-end infrastructure for all AI needs and for next, let's say, billion digital users of Web3 who are going to be mostly AIs.
Thank you, Dario. Very welcome. And let's welcome our next guest, Gigi, please.
Hi guys, I'm Gigi. I'm the BD manager of Privacy. And Privacy is an innovative startup dedicated to constructing a decentralized privacy computing infrastructure. And our company, the primary mission of our company is centered on providing efficient and user-friendly, fully homomorphic encryption solutions, and these solutions are tailored for both users in Web2 and Web3 environments. And we will launch our mainnet DeepSea very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi. Thank you for your introduction. And let's welcome our next guest. Adam, please introduce yourself to us. Sorry, can you hear Adam's voice?
I couldn't. I was wondering if it was just me.
Okay, so I thought it's just me too. Sorry, Adam, we cannot hear your voice. Please check your internet, and we will hear to your introduction later. Introduction later. Okay. So yes, please check your phone voice. Okay, I saw him that he will come here later. And now let's welcome all the guests come to our space. And your arrival has undoubtedly added infinite brilliance to our activities. And this event aims to delve into the latest advances in AI and cross-chain technology and how to jointly promote the future development of Web3 through the keynote speeches and discussions. We will share cutting-edge views with spark of ideas and jointly explore the potential of AI this field. Let's welcome the arrival of all of you again. And in our space tonight, we will also set up a lucky draw. We will randomly draw 35 lucky friends in the live audience and comment area. And we will share 300 AXL tokens and 5 presents, including 2 hand warmers and 3 mini pool tables. Please interact with each other, and our staff will conduct a raffle and contact the winners. And now, let's go into the interactive sections. Our first question is about what is the synergistic value of AI and cross-chain technology. In the wave of the digital transformation, the combination of AI and cross-chain technology is becoming an important force to promote industry innovation. We have to ask what synergistic value can be unlocked by this combination? Can AI's intelligence, decision making, and learning capabilities achieve more efficient data processing and utilization through cross-chain technology, thereby promoting the performance and the security enhancement of blockchain networks? And what is the far-reaching significance of this synergistic value in promoting the development of the digital economy, finance, technology, and other fields? Let's welcome our guests to discuss about this topic. And firstly, let's invite Galen to share about your opinions.
Thank you. Certainly. I think when it comes to AI and blockchain in general, the use cases are still emerging. I think there's a lot of exciting ideas and there's a lot of great teams working on ways in which these technologies will intersect. But the ultimate outcome and kind of how this will play out is still, I think, a little bit out into the future. But there are a couple of paths that we see at Interop Labs and the Axelar community. And I think specifically with regard to cross-chain, obviously we sort of view the world of Web3 through a multi-chain lens, and start to see where these things are emerging. So I'm glad you asked this specific question. I think the first area that's very interesting to us is in the area of tokenized AI agents. So just briefly, AI agents are actors in a marketplace or any kind of environment that are not human, but are powered by artificial intelligence. They may be owned by humans or human organizations. And when they are tokenized, you have a situation where they might have a broader accessibility of the things that they can do in the marketplace. So if you think about the way, for example, financial trading has evolved, we've gone from in the past decades, we've gone from a world of discretionary trading where individuals make decisions about asset purchases and transfers, and into a world of algorithmic trading where computers are more and more making those decisions. And that's a transition that's happened especially over the past 20 years. And unfortunately, those algorithmic trades are really not accessible to a broader populace, right? You have a hedge funds, you have a kind of a Wall Street insider, where often professionals on Wall Street don't really understand exactly how the algorithms work. There's a kind of an obscurity there, and I think with a tokenized AI agent, you have an opportunity to create something that's a little more democratic, a little more globally accessible, and certainly more transparent as it runs on a public blockchain. So at Axelar, we're looking we've developed tools that enable systems to rapidly tokenize. The specific tool I'm thinking about is called Interchain Token Service. Interchain Token Service, or ITS, is a part of the Axelar Mobius development stack, which is a developer environment that enables a lot of things that developers might want to do with multiple blockchains to be done quickly, easily, efficiently. And Interchain Token Service specifically enables developers, applications to mint tokens across multiple blockchains and have those tokens function as native tokens on each chain. So it is a sort of a beyond bridges solution where tokens are moving across chain, moving from chain to chain, and are not sort of bound by the traditional constraints of bridges like wrapped tokens. They bring their functionality and their fungibility with them from blockchain to blockchain. And at Axelar, we've enabled that path to be very easy. In fact, you can go to interchain.axelar.dev and make that mint a token without writing any code. So for tokenized AI agents, we anticipate that we'll see platform. We're working with some of the largest platforms in the space already. Virtuals Protocol is a project that's building with Axelar, for example. And we're seeing that there's a demand for technology that enables those platforms to quickly tokenize and to do it across any number of blockchains, not to be limited to one single blockchain environment. So that's a pretty exciting and actually very specific and real use case that I think is emerging today. If I can just go on a little bit longer and perhaps a bit more kind of high level and far further future, there is always the question of trust when it comes to artificial intelligence. Where did the data come from? What are these AI agents doing? On whose behalf are they acting? These kinds of questions come up, and if we're going to enter a world where we have people and machines interacting in much more complex and frequent ways, I think establishing that level of trust is essential. And so it's not necessarily that every AI will operate on a blockchain, but we do think that blockchains will have a role in establishing those patterns of provenance, right? The question of where did data come from, how were AI agents trained, that there will be a blockchain role in kind of establishing those records of trust so that individuals and other AIs can interact with those artificial intelligences with a level of trust, and that's something that will certainly require. That's a specialized function. A blockchain will be established to provide those records and to enable that trust, and that blockchain will need to communicate with other blockchains, with off-chain systems, and it's that kind of cross-chain and cross-system communication where I think Axelar is looking to provide the interoperability infrastructure to make that possible.
Wow, thanks to Galen for sharing the value of AI and cross-chain technology. As he said, this has provided a lot of convenience for token cross-chain, and the technology has brought a lot of convenience to the blockchain too. And next, let's welcome Herbert to share his opinion about this question.
Thank you, Huai. I very much agree with what Galen just said about tokenized AI agents. And just from the angle of ICP, I want to just go down this path a little bit further and throwing something with a slightly different flavor. Where I think another guest tonight also mentioned about decentralized AI or DAI. That is very important to ICP. That is a version of artificial intelligence by our standard, by our definition. So I don't want to pretend here that we all use the AI the same way. Well, at least for ICP we have very specific definition of the kind of decentralized AI that we want. Okay, so give us guys one example. I just say what kind of a tokenized AI agent do we want to see built on ICP? That would be a agent that is end to end, including front end, back end, entirely built on the Internet Computer Protocol. That is already, I think, quite possible, and I'm looking for we actually we have a call to order, a call to action for developers to go into that direction. How this works is you can host the AI agent not on the AWS, on Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud or Azure. You can actually host that on the Canister smart contract running on ICP. That is already possible because the Canister smart contract from ICP is able to provide not only compute but also data storage as well as bandwidth. So you can run your AI agent from a Canister smart contract, and then you hook it up with some version of large language model. Not all of them, but some developers in the ICP community has been able to successfully run I think one version of a Llama, I think Llama 3A, 3AB model in our Canister smart contract. That was pretty exciting news, I think from 6 months ago. So you can do that. You can do some fine tuning, feed some data, maybe some domain specific data to this large language model so that the inferences from this agent will be domain specific. And that would be quite interesting. Of course, the outlet, the front end, at the moment, still gonna be Twitter. But Twitter runs on centralized AWS servers. We don't want to see that. So it's quite possible that you run this agent on a version of Twitter built on ICP that is already available. Obviously doesn't nearly have the same user group in the same scale as Twitter, but it's technically possible. So I just want to give everyone an example of what kind of tokenized AI agent that can already be built on ICP, and we think that's quite an exciting future. Thank you.
Thank you, Herbert, for sharing. And I agree with you that we all use AI in the same way. And I appreciate you for sharing about the use of AI in ICP community. And let's welcome our next guest, Daria, to share her opinion about this question.
Yeah, hey, yeah, I think a very thank you of to the speakers who have just spoken. There's been a lot of examples, and I agree with a lot of things that have been said. Wanted to add a little more to what both of them said. So yes, what we think about that is going to be super important is decentralized AI. That's in AI that's not just owned or controlled by permissioned or centralized entities like OpenAI and stuff. So that's one thing for a development that many chains can and many protocols can chime in and us at Autonomous as well. But specifically for the topic of cross-chain, I think what's important to understand, and in this example, I really like to, well, I guess anthropomorphize AIs and agents because us humans, we are cross-chain. We're using many chains. Of course, there are like maxis. They want to use just one chain, but like you have a goal of something you want to do. You want to get a token. You want to run smart contract. You go, you analyze whatever chains they have. You choose which others programming languages, developer docs, which ones you like, which ones are suit to your needs, and so on and so forth. And agents are going to do the same. They are going to have a goal that they want to achieve, and they're going to go and try to find whatever chains that let them achieve their goal in the most optimal way, be that depending on what they're optimizing for, be it fees, be it speed, be it TPS, be it like high frequency trading, and for different goals. This can be different optimizations that are going to be made. But ultimately, I believe that there's going to be, well, not one chain to rule them all, but like the internet, there's a big network of everything that is connected together, all the chains, all the agents going back and forth, doing things that they want, people will intending them to do different things as they want, and all of us can chime in into that. And another point that I want to add to, I think, what Galen said about accountability and traceability and transparency, this is actually also one of the problems that we are tackling at Autonomous is how do you make autonomous agents like really autonomous? They don't have a body, they don't have a brain, well, at least yet, where they can store their learned experiences, where the person who authorized them to do things can actually authorize them, or they can debug why did they take a specific decision, or what were the specific actions that they have performed on many other chains. And we are developing also an agents framework, and we have deployed a couple of agents that store their memories and track record of their actions on chain. So when you're also adding then the computation being available to do on chain, then the agent can basically leave unstoppably. It can revive itself, or each person can revive itself, and you have no risk of losing it, you have no risk of losing record, you have no risk of being banned from things like AWS or other things. So yeah, a lot of synergy here with the others.
Thank you, Dario, for sharing, and thank you for giving us many examples of AI and cross-chain technology application scenarios. As also, you also tell us about some of the problems and solutions in this area. And thank you again. And let's welcome next our guest, Gigi, to share her opinion about this question.
Yeah, thank you. We all know that AI has huge potential in blockchain for predictive analytics, fraud detection, and optimizing transaction processing. When combined with cross chain communication, AI can analyze and leverage data from multiple chains to create more comprehensive models. For example, from our side, Privacy's DeepSeek network integrates AI with privacy preserving technologies like fully homomorphic encryption, which enables secure multi chain analysis while safeguarding sensitive information. And I think it might be a solution to the trust issue of AI that Galen mentioned before. This is very crucial for applications like multi-chain identity verification or cross-chain financial modeling. In our AI network DeepSeek, we could leverage cross-chain interactions to train decentralized AI models by using diverse data sets from multiple blockchains, improving the accuracy and the scope. And I think I think this combination is very crucial for applications like decentralized insurance, and that's where data from multiple source determines outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi, for sharing. And you give the example of decentralized AI models, and they can be trained, and this combination is very important. And thank you. And I still cannot see Adam, so we will come to our next question. And thank you all the guests sharing the value of AI and cross-chain technology. And the combination of AI and cross-chain technology has undoubtedly injected new vulnerability into the blockchain ecosystem. So in today's increasingly prosperous data economy, how will this combination affect the future of the data economy, especially in terms of AI-driven multi-chain data sharing? And next, let's move on to this topic in depth. It's about the future of the data economy. How will AI-driven multi-chain data sharing be realized? First, let's welcome our first guest, Galen, to share his opinion.
Thank you. Let me try to be brief. I think there's a real use case here in terms of specialization of blockchains. I think it just to not to not to be too blunt about it, but humans have a great capacity to create bullshit information, and there's a great deal of false, fraudulent information out there. I think if we're honest with ourselves, the Web3 space is a can be an example of that at times. And I think with the introduction of AI generated information, that capacity to create false or misleading information is about to explode. Is already exploding. So in this data economy, if you will, in this world of sharing data, sharing facts, I think we're going to see a need for a great deal of specialization in blockchains. And Daria, I think, had a good analogy, something we think about a lot at Interop Labs and the Axelar community, this concept of an internet of blockchains. If you think of the internet itself, it is a collection of networks. It is an internet. I think the participants in this AMA are dialing in from places all over the world on various data networks. And we're able to do that because we have an internet that connects those networks seamlessly and provides rich and safe communication across them. With Web3, what we have is a kind of a verified internet. And it's not one network. We don't, the internet doesn't run on one stack. It doesn't run on one database. The internet runs on many, many databases across the world. And same thing with Web3. We have a verified internet that runs on many, many blockchains across the world. With, I think, as someone said, possibly the exception of a few blockchain maxis out there. We're in a world of multiple blockchains, and especially when it comes to data and AI and the data economy, we're going to see a need for specialized blockchains that ensure that data remains private, that you can participate and share and offer up data, for example, to be part of a computation, but not give away that data so that it could be misused in another context. A blockchain that provides verification so that you know that the source of data is one that you can trust. These functions are specialized, and certainly in a kind of a cross-chain context, you want to see a world where those different blockchains can interact. And at the core of it all is functions like like what we were talking about with ICP, what Herbert was saying. You have blockchains that are capable of creating tremendous throughput, are capable of doing things that applications want to do. and the ability for a single application to tap all those multiple resources, I think, is really the key piece that we're looking to enable in the cross-chain world. And I'm very much looking forward to, that version of Web3 emerging, one where we sort of put the web back in Web3, as it were.
Thank you. Thanks for Galen for sharing. And I agree with you that what you say, this technology is already exploding. As we all know, with the rapid development of big data, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence and other technologies, data has already become the core element to explode the development of the digital economy. Hello. Oh, Gigi, do you want to say something about this question?
Yes, of course. Since it's not very relevant to our project, but I can provide a new a special opinion from our side. As we know that AI models depend on high quality, diverse data sets, and cross-chain technologies enable access to data silos across chains, ensuring better training and model accuracy. For example, the privacy's integration of FHE ensures that data can be shared and processed without compromising the user's privacy. For example, a decentralized AI application for medical research could pull anonymized health records from multiple chains securely. A very notable example is our product called I Am Human app. And what we do in I Am Human app is POH, which is called proof of humanity. So that for example, users are asked to scan their faces on their phones, and we can tell if they are human or not by verifying their facial vector. However, the whole workflow is encrypted. We don't have the access to users' biometric information, and the app combines data privacy and decentralized identity verification, which could leverage cross-chain technology to pull verifiable identity data from multiple blockchains without exposing the sensitive informations. Because we are using the decentralized storage system, which is called IPFS. Combined with cross-chain frameworks, IPFS could play a very crucial role in preserving data privacy while ensuring accessibility. And so far, we have like 1 million downloads, which is a very remarkable record for the world first FH app.
Thank you, Gigi, for sharing many cases in this area with us, such as in the medical field, as well as facial recognition for mobile phones, etc. And I see that Adam has been has. Can you speak now?
Yeah, I can speak now. Yes, sorry for
Okay.
the weak reception.
Thank you. You can firstly introduce yourself to us, and then we are talking about the question about how the future of the data economy, how will AI-driven multi-chain data sharing be realized?
Yeah, so I'm a Solana Foundation advisor. Solana is a layer one blockchain that was launched back to 2018, and it's been out there for a while. And recently, I think due to the hype of the meme culture, and of course over the last weekend with Trump coin, it got a lot of attentions. So it was benefiting like a lot of people by faster transaction speed and also very low transaction cost. Um, and regarding the question you mentioned, I think it's very important that the data, there's kind of like a data layer being abstracted from everything else. And AI data is the fuel for AI. I feel like there's a lot of way that people can collecting data through the decentralized way. For example, Gigi mentioned like the medical part, the mobile part. I think these are several aspects that are already been happening on Solana. So I think like collecting data, for example, like we used to have a graphs. Graphs was trying to collecting the data from the mobile side, but also we start seeing like project building data collection for like robotic training. So through blockchains. So this is something I think like definitely the future of the world. And when we get into AI and robotics, cross-chain is a must because a lot of time people are staying with one system or several, but if you want to cover everything, cross-chain interoperability is the key. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam, for sharing with us the cases of how AI-driven multi-chain data sharing will be realized. And I agree with you that what you said, this is the future. And let's welcome our next guest, Daria, to share your opinion about this part.
Yeah, I agree with previous speakers. That was like data that's already on chain is not going to be that hard to have AIs try to use it and make decisions, whether it be trading or anything else based on of the data. What I think is going to be an uphill battle is trying to get data that's not yet on chain to be on chain. So, if you all read like this famous book, the Read Write Own by Chris Dixon, so that's kind of where we're trying to head, where people not just like read and consume content on the internet and not just write it, like we're all post on Twitter and all that data goes directly into Grok, or we post on Facebook, all that data goes directly into Llama. All of these entities are going to try to protect their data as much as they can. One, because it's the new fuel, it's the new gold of training all of those AI, and they don't want to give up the data. And two, not that many people, unfortunately, yet care that they're giving up all of this data that's may have been valuable, basically for free. Using Facebook is free. Why? Because you are the product. Your data is the product. They don't make you pay money, but you're basically giving up all this information about yourself. And if we are able to tackle putting all of that world on chain, and this has been notoriously difficult for blockchains for a while because of the way chains and consensus are built, because having blockchain is way too heavy. Every node has to store it, or if people cannot store it anymore, like full nodes on Ethereum require way too much space, it's going to be pruned, or everybody's going to be a light node. And that has been also notoriously hard for a while for blockchains. I think we have solved that part at Autonomous because of our consensus. It's proof for archival storage. So it's way better than IPFS because you can basically permanently store valuable things, and they are distributed through many, many nodes in a sharded way. So nobody has to store everything. And so that is also an avenue I think we're going to need to fight a lot more for the decentralized AI world if we want to build it.
Thank you, Daria, for sharing. And you also raised some questions about our privacy concerns. Therefore, this is also what we need to care about. Can this sharing model achieve the efficient use of value release of data on the premise of ensuring data security and privacy? And let's welcome our next guest, Herbert Yang, to share his opinion about this question.
Hey, thank you, Huai. I think just now, Galen made a very important point about the verify internet. Actually, in one sentence, that's what ICP, Internet Computer Protocol, is trying to do. If we compare ICP to Ethereum, if Ethereum provides verify or distributed ledger, ICP provides verify compute. and that is it. And that means the entire technology stack of cloud computing, as we know. I used to come from Amazon Web Services. That's the entire business model for AWS, to provide compute. And on ICP, the Kinesis smart contract is really like Kubernetes or like a Docker system, where you can, with a 300 gigabyte stable memory, your data can persist in a stable memory and stay there forever, as long as you keep enough cycles, which is a measure of the computation resources consumed. So I think that is a very important notion for the blockchain industry, and generally, that is something that cannot be possibly achieved in the centralized, in the old internet that is basically dominated by the Magnificent Seven. Anything that runs on a centralized technology stack, by definition, I'm gonna do a hot take here. By definition, cannot be trusted, because it can always be cracked at some point. So, but that's what ICP is trying to do. We try to build this. We try to turn the whole world into a world computer, the very original vision from Ethereum Foundation that I don't think they can ever achieve. So that's I think that's very important. And also, on this topic about data for the cross-chain world, I do want to highlight a very inconvenient truth that is facing all of us today is nobody owns any data. Nobody. I mean, no one, I don't know, 300 plus listeners on this call, nobody owns your data. Your data is owned by somebody else. And that's the world we developers, all my colleagues in the Divinity Foundation, we try to disrupt. I think the old tempo has to be maybe it has to be replaced by something entirely new. It cannot be done just by piecemeal work. So that journey is very hard, but we are getting there. So for example, for the decentralized, coming back to the decentralized AI topic, we envision the future where not only you can provide inference and the training of large language model within the Kinesis smart contract from ICP, but more importantly, you can also collect data from all the users, whether that's a retail user, enterprise, university, endowment, or museum, on canisters. I think that will be the first step, because only when we align the ownership of data with the right entities, then we are getting somewhere to talk about a decentralized future. Otherwise the data will just go to Sam Altman at some point. I don't think anyone wants to see that. So yeah, I know these are pretty extremist sort of views, but I think they're fairly important. Thank you.
Thank you, Herbert. And I also agree with your opinion. And you also say that no one can have your data. I agree with that too. And thanks for all the guests about your opinion in depth analysis of the role of AI driven multi chain data sharing in the future of the data economy. And multi-chain data sharing has undoubtedly opened a new door for the circulation and the utilization of data. And there comes to our next question about what are the challenges of building multi-chain AI applications?
Happy to
Okay,
jump in
yeah.
if I may. I think when you look at the number of developers active in Web3, it's actually a very small number. Of course, we all are watching the space closely and excited by the advancements and the activity. And sometimes it feels like there's a bewildering amount of activity happening in Web3. But if you back out and you take a look, for example, at the Electric Capital Developer Report that comes out on an annual basis, the number of developers active in Web3 is in the tens of thousands, compared to millions who are JavaScript developers, for example. That is I think that that's not only a reflection of how early our space is, which is exciting, but also a reflection of how difficult it can be to build in Web3. So even building on a single blockchain, I think, is a challenging proposition for a lot of developers. I think there are fundamental principles, some of which Herbert was just alluding to, of data verification and security that are just foreign to a lot of developers. There are certainly projects that are working to make that easier. ICP would be one of them. I think SWE has made strides in that direction, and the Move programming language is a good step in that direction. Agoric is another one with hardened JavaScript. uh, those are, I think, great examples of places where that's leaping forward. But even just to build on one blockchain is hard. So, so the idea that then you're going to build your software, you sort of think of like a coffee chain example. You've built a coffee shop in one city in one country, and now successful. You want to expand to other cities and countries. You're going to build your same experience, your same supply chain in other geographies. Uh, Doing that on a blockchain is very challenging. Trying to manage an instance of an application that exists, for example, on an EVM chain and also on Solana, uh, very challenging. We've seen some of the largest projects attempt to do that. It's extremely costly. Only the largest projects can afford to do it. And even then, you end up with a kind of a second class experience on the secondary chains. You end up with a sort of a primary chain where that application exists, and a secondary chain or chains where sort of reduced or limited versions of that application can exist. And they may be limited in the amount of liquidity they have access to, or they may be limited simply in the functionality that they have because the team doesn't have the capability. Maybe it's impossible. Maybe they don't have the resources to replicate that functionality in that other environment. So I think bottom line, we talk a lot about user experience and user adoption, but before we get there, we need developer experience and developer adoption. And it's really the tools up the stack, in our view, on the multi-chain level that enable that. And that's why we at Interop Labs have contributed things like Interchain Token Service, like Interchain Amplifier, which enables us to connect various blockchain languages, blockchains with various languages, various consensus mechanisms into the same network of interconnected blockchains. And we've, as I mentioned, Flow has just been connected. We have SWE is on the roadmap for connection via Interchain Amplifier. Solana is as well, TON, XRP Ledger. There's a wide variety of consensus mechanisms, Monad as well, of consensus mechanisms and programming languages that we're looking to connect. And that's, you can't, connecting them is one thing, bridging them is one thing. That's challenging enough. I think what we're looking to do really at the developer level is abstract that experience so that, code can be deployed once and then run everywhere, right? We want developers to be able to build an application and just think about that, not have to worry about, okay, am I going to build it here? Am I going to build it there? What's it going to cost me to build it in multiple places versus how many users can I generate that way? We want them to be able to focus on their applications and then with a single click, as it were, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but with a single action, deploy them to multiple blockchains, reach users everywhere, tap liquidity everywhere. That's, I think, ultimately the vision. And I will admit, it's far. We're far from that today. I think we've made some strides toward being able to make that possible, but it's still a challenge for developers trying to build a cross chain.
Thank you, Garen, for sharing and give us a lot of examples of the challenges of building multi-chain AI applications such as Solana and so on. And let's welcome our next guest, Herbert, to share his opinion about this question.
Thank you, Huai. I think for the cross-chain question, I'll say this: ICP is actually really it's a great tool for developers to build cross-chain applications because of this very versatile canister smart contract. You can actually hold native crypto currencies within a canister. So think about what can that do. That basically you can create an intent-based protocol And you can throw in some AI thing, like an AI bot, just to say, okay, I want to, okay, let's say, how about let's create a index fund for the Trump family, whatever, himself, his wife, his second wife, whatever, his ex, and his many different sons and grandsons, and let's create an index ETF to track that. And I want to allocate my assets with certain percentages in this portfolio. All right, that can be done entirely within the canister smart contract. Okay, but that's not the most difficult part. The most difficult part is to do rebalance, which is a daily exercise for the Wall Street for the last 100 years. And you can do that autonomously on ICP with canister smart contract as well. I think just now another guest, Daria mentioned the word autonomous. I think that's what has been missing from the world of smart contract, for the last 7 to 8 years, since it was it was burst into scene on the Ethereum, because it's not very smart. I think the smart contract, if it cannot run autonomously, it has its functionalities are a little bit overrated. But I think we are heading toward that future where we can see a lot of autonomous AI agents that will be able to do swapping, let's say swapping of tokens across multiple chains, as well as grabbing data. Going back to the previous question, across different blockchains. And that future is already unfolding in front of us. And if you're a developer out there, you'll find the ICP developing experience quite familiar to Web2, which is quite which is a lot more efficient and easier, because everything that used to be a headache for the developer is now has the hard work has been done basically by the Definitive Foundation. So you're only limited by your own imagination. In terms of the challenges of multi-chain, I think AI applications, the lack of stable coin is still a challenge. For example, we have a lot of great projects in ICP that are building layer 2 solutions on Bitcoin, but there's no stable coin on Bitcoin yet. And there are many interesting theories why that has been the case. But maybe it's a bit of a chicken neck problem. But if that could happen at some point magically, that's gonna unleash a whole lot of use cases, and a lot of folks will be very will be very displeased. Yeah, I'll just say that. Thank you.
Thanks for Herbert for your wonderful sharing and some interesting ideas. And you also give a lot of ideas that ICP can achieve. I agree with you what you said. We have a lot of future possibilities. And you also mentioned about the stable coins. And I also think this is a challenging part we have to discuss more about in the future. And let's welcome our next guest, Dario, to share your opinion about this question.
Yeah, thank you. I agree very much with Galen that having actually multi-chain applications that like actually run on those different chains is right now insanely difficult. And one reasons for that, except for the ones that he listed, is also how very, very fragmented the space is at the moment, because we're just like so early. When the internet just started, there have been a lot of competing protocols, but it took years for something to emerge that was unified and kind of okay for everyone. And there's still a lot of networks, but at least there is one like underpinning protocol, let's say, like HTTP, HTTPS. So this is probably gonna improve with the way that everybody's protocols improve, everybody's documentation improves. A lot of the things change so frequently that when you develop something, it may not be valid soon by the time the protocol launches or something. The kind of what AI can help here, though, is that it can learn on its own to try to code those things. That's one thing, and it's going to help a lot of this few Web3 developers that we have to actually speed up their development, and try to get POCs, proofs of concept, online much quicker than it has been so far. Though there is still, like, the models that exist today would need to be given the specialized knowledge. So documentation of these protocols, it needs to be really, really good, and the APIs and the function calls need to be understandable by AI, need to be like explained and written in a way that is digestible and allows basically LLMs or agents to read through it and be able to code it, which has not been really good. In this space, there are like a few examples that have like really good documentation, but there are so many protocols that have very nice ideas. If you read through their website and you open the documentation, you have no clue what you're supposed to do to deploy something, and let's hope the space can grow up, and we all can grow up and improve in this sense, and it's going to simplify cross-chain deployment for everybody, both for humans and for AIs. And what else I want to say? Even right now, I think the AI can also help with cross-chain deployment, but in level of like APIs and RPC calls. Like I think it's also in ICP that your cross-chain kind of relies on like consensus from basically RPC calls from other chains and stuff like that. But we need to integrate it a lot deeper.
Thank you, Daria, for sharing. And you mentioned that things change so quickly today, and AI can help us to understand things faster and speed up development. And I agree with you so much. And let's welcome our next guest, Gigi, to share your opinion about this question.
Yeah, I think the main challenges include inconsistent data formats, high transaction cost, and security risk in transferring data across chains. But there are some solutions like what Axelar are doing, like adopting universal communication protocols, and what we're doing in privacy preserving communication, because we are using FHE in our DeepSeek network. I think these two are both solutions that can address some bottlenecks we talked about.
Okay. Thank you, Gigi, for sharing. And we will also ask Adam about this question. Can you share with us about some of the challenges of building multi-chain AI applications?
Yeah, so I'm not a tech background, but I think in general, one is data, one is hash rate, and also you need like composability between other chains, and also the liquidity side. So 100% agree with Galen. You mentioned that the liquidity part is uh, is always key. Also agree with Herbert that there has to be like stablecoin in order to price the assets as well. But something like XLR will be super helpful to help this like multi-chain, cross-chain build up. But also Solana has like a lot of projects building like SVMs, Solana virtual machine, which is like you initiating with the transaction from Ethereum or OP, and then you can using the execution layers on Solana to save the cost, increase the transaction speed, which is like also potentially could be integrating with the long-term cross-chain capabilities as well. Yeah, so my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you, Adam, and for all your sharing about all these questions. About the insights into the construction of multi-chain AI application and their challenges. We have a more intuitive understanding of the actual opening in this field. And the implementation of the multi-chain AI application is not only technically complex, but also faces many challenges. So what role will AI play in optimizing DeFi and NFT scenarios. Next, let's move on to how AI can empower these two hot areas. And first, let's welcome Galen to share your opinion.
I think when it comes to AI optimized DeFi, I think we've thought a bit about this. Actually, one of our co-founders of the Axelar protocol, Yorgos, had an op-ed in CoinDesk a week or two ago about the role of tokenized AI agents in finance. And so I think, essentially what we're talking about there is DeFi. And certainly, DeFi and crypto. I think one of the successes that you can point to in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology in general is a democratization of finance. Stable coins in particular open up access to treasury bills, U.S. treasury bills, to the dollar. These are financial products that are desired all over the world, but that people may not have access to. And through stable coins that are globally available, like Tether, like USDC, you have and a growing list of stablecoin technologies. You have new sort of open access to these kind of financial products. To me, this feels like just the beginning, just in the way Bitcoin was really just the beginning of kind of a global access to a ledger of ownership, a digital form of currency. So I think when it comes to DeFi and some of the more, sort of when we all sort of being immersed in the space, look around at DeFi, we're constantly looking at exciting new protocols that are emerging, new use cases. I think some of those use cases are at the very, cutting edge, and we'll begin to see those. Emerge and provide broader access. So when it comes to AI agents, performing trades, acting on behalf of investors. I think the idea that you can tokenize those and then have them operating on financial systems that run on open blockchains, that's pretty exciting. Feels like future stuff for sure. I don't, we're definitely not there today, and there's a lot to work out in terms of how that might look and how it might work, and what role regulated financial institutions will play in such a system. But I do think there's a window there that's opening to expanded access, and with expanded access comes benefits for people all over the world, but also comes expanded liquidity for these products. The Larry Fink from BlackRock was at, I think, Davos day before yesterday, talking about tokenization of securities and what that will do in terms of global access. I think if he's red pilled on this, then I think we all have to be looking very closely at what DeFi can do when it comes to global access to what we consider to be fairly traditional financial products. I guess we're talking about RWAs here more than DeFi. But to me, that's an exciting narrative, and one where I think AI agents will not only open up access to those financial products, to those currencies, to those bonds, but also open up access to sophisticated trading strategies, so that people all over the world can benefit from those, rather than just those who are fortunate or wealthy enough or connected enough to get access to specific hedge funds.
Okay, thank you, Garen, for sharing. And we will ask about Daria to share your opinion about what role will AI play on optimizing DeFi and NFT scenarios.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's mostly going. I'm pretty sure like AI trading of DeFi and everything else that gets tokenized is going to completely swarm anything that humans ever do, just like it is now true with traditional finance. It's just going to be a lot more open because it's on chain, because AIs can, one, if you need for like alpha, you need to browse all the crypto Twitter, all the Discord servers, all of that stuff. None of us can like physically do that. Well, AIs can do that, and you don't have to have just one. You can deploy more, multiple of them agents. One goes to Twitter, one follows all the discords of all the projects you're interested in. One tries to find alpha, and once it's found, it just goes and executes. And I'm pretty sure that is going to be like, well, maybe not 90%, but like very high percentage of all the transactions that are happening on chains that are heavily DeFi focused.
Okay, thank you. Because our time constriction, and we will ask Adam if you want to share about some opinion about this question. Oh, I cannot hear Adam's voice, and I think about the time we're going to finish our Twitter space now, and thank you all the guests for share your wonderful expositions on the role of AI in optimizing DeFi and NFT scenarios. And also we discuss a lot about this AI and cross-chain technologies, and we are fully expectations for the future development of this field. And the sharing of all the guests not only show the huge potential of AI cross-chain technology, but also revealed how they will jointly promote innovation and development in the fields of digital economy and financial technology. And in this event, we witnessed how AI and cross-chain technology can work together to promote the innovation and development of the Web3 ecosystem. And thank you to everyone for your participation and in-depth exchanges. And you are the ones who make this feast of ideas more exciting. And let's work together to continue to explore the infinite possibilities of AI and cross-chain, and jointly embrace the wave of the new era of Web3 and create a more intelligent and decentralized future. And thank you all. This is the end of our Twitter space now. And
Thank you, Huai. Thank you.
oh, thank
Thank you,
you.
Huai.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Bye bye.
Thank you,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, everyone.
Okay. Okay.
Good
So
Good
night.
talk.
bye.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.